Hey guys, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the project that we're going to be doing. It might be really hard to remember, but I mentioned this project about a month ago or more as being something that we couldn't do in class. I didn't think we'd have time, but hey, guess what? We're home now. We have all this time, so this is an opportunity. I thought for you guys to do something kind of cool and creative. I wish we were at school because I would have some materials I could share with you, but I'm guessing that you have some stuff at home you could use, and I'm going to give you lots of different choices and ways that you can do this project. So what the project is about animal cells and plant cells. So if you remember back to our reader, and if you have your reader at home, you might want to use it, pages 5, 6, and 7. If not, I'm going to have copies of the two pages that you need the most, pages 6 and 7, in the materials for the project. But you might remember that we talked about how cells are made up, right? All living things are made of cells. They're the smallest unit of life. And that there are single cell creatures like bacteria, but then there are multi-cell creatures like animals, plants, people, and that they have different things within them that sometimes we refer to as organelles. It's kind of like the word organ that we know, like in our body, and that the cell is made in a way that it has a structure, so that ways in which parts are put together to form a whole, and that within that each have a function, a normal action of something or how something works. And we're going to be comparing in this project how an animal cell and a plant cell are actually kind of the same but also different. So this is page 6, I think. So this is showing you an example of a plant cell. An animal cell. And this text goes into a little bit talking about what parts of things you would find inside an animal cell. And inside an animal cell, I'm going to highlight it for you a little bit, you would find something called the cytoplasm. And the cytoplasm surrounds all the organelles. It's like a jelly kind of liquid, so it's like kind of the loose thing that holds it all together. There's a cell membrane that goes all around the outside of the cell. And because it has just this cell membrane, it allows the animal cell to be a little bit more flexible and take kind of on different shapes depending on what it's in. When you can think about animals and their need for movement, all cells have a control center, like the thing that controls everything that happens inside of it, and that's called the nucleus. And within each cell, they have something called the mitochondria. Mitochondria they help to break down food into usable energy. All cells need food to be able to do their job and create things, protect things, etc. All of these cells are going to have something called vacuoles. In the case of an animal cell, that they're like large sacs that store water and food throughout the cell. Now, a plant cell actually has something different. The plant cell, well, it has one larger vacuole, which I thought this was an interesting fact. It takes up 90%. I think I want to do that in green actually. Takes up 90% of the plant cell, and I don't think that got emphasized to my kids last year. So that might be, you might think about that when you're making your cell. So in a plant cell, 90% of the cell is actually taken up by this thing called a central vacuole. A plant wilts, it says, if its cells lose water in their central vacuole. I got bad news for you. One of the corn was looking a little bad, but don't worry, I watered it. Sometimes it's hard to remember if I watered them or not the day before. So these were some basic things about the organelles for an animal cell. Let's look really quick at the plant cell. So the plant cell, how is the plant cell same and different? Well, it also has organelles. It also has that cytoplasm, that liquid all around it. It also has a cell membrane, but one thing that it has that the animal cell does not, it has a cell wall. And this is a bit kind of more of a rigid kind of piece to it. It says it up here actually. Cell walls are stiff fibers that help plants stay rigid and stand up. That makes sense because we know that's the plant, what's what the plant needs to be able to help itself survive. It needs to be able to grow up or out, and it needs to be able to move to the sun. So that's one thing that's different, is that an animal cell has a cell wall. The other thing one thing that makes it different is it has an organelle called chloroplasts, and chloroplasts should make them green, I guess. Chloroplasts absorb energy from the sun, and they help to perform photosynthesis to make the food for the plants. So you can see them in here, and they contain that green pigment that we know of as chlorophyll. That when a tree's leaves, like an oak or a maple, stop performing photosynthesis, they lose that green color, and the leaves get crunchy and brown or red and fall off. So down here, it also just mentions a little bit about photosynthesis again, and about how photosynthesis uses the sun's energy to convert carbon dioxide and water into a kind of sugar called glucose. Glucose holds the stored chemical energy, and plants use glucose for growth and development. That's why our corn was able to grow in the cotton, even though it wasn't in soil. Now, the ones that were in soil did grow taller because they were getting nutrients from the soil that helped to grow taller. Oh, okay. Oh, I actually meant to. So let me show another screen first. Okay, so this just shows picture of a bear, a multicelled animal, and a multicelled plant, and you can see under a microscope what their cells would look like. So you can see the animal cells, right, have a less defined shape, while the plant cells have that more kind of rigid structure because of those cell walls. I want you to see those for a minute. Here are those same two pictures from the reader. We'll do this quickly together. I wish we were together to do it, but we are not, alas. Okay, so how are they different? How are they the same? Well, we know that both kinds of cells, animal cells and plant cells, are both multi-celled, right? We know that both kinds of plants they have life requirements, so that both kinds of cells require or need food and water in order to function and to help whatever aspect of the animal or the plant live or survive. We know that both of them have something called a cell membrane, which holds in the cytoplasm and all the rest of the organelles of a cell. But then we have some differences. So, for example, we know that the plant cell has a larger vacuole, where the animal cell has several smaller ones. In fact, they say 90% of the plant cell is taken up by the larger vacuole, which makes sense because it needs a lot of water. We know that only the plant cell has that more rigid cell wall. So think about that when you're creating your sorry, your project. And because of that, only plant has chloroplasts, this organelle that performs photosynthesis. But the animal cell, one thing I do want to mention is this piece here that says it gets energy from plants and animals. I want you to think about that for a minute because it ties into kind of this next part of the unit, that animals get their energy, right, from eating either other animals or other plants. So I want you to consider that part as a factor. Okay, so project time. So I hopped over to Google Classroom, and I'm still kind of I've used the stream heavily, right? But I'm going to really start using this classwork piece too, I hope, and I hope I'm using it correctly. So I wanted to show you a couple things. So if you slip over here, you'll find I have something called Cell Project. I don't know how to make this collapsed. So first, I have some directions. So for next week, a whole week. So anytime you're going to work on science, any day next week, I want you to work on this project. I don't think it will take you all week, so you are welcome to share it with me whenever you're ready, but take some time and put some thought into it. So you're going to be choosing a way to create an animal cell and plant cell. Get excited. You can collaborate if you want with somebody else, even from another class. That's right. So if you want to do, like, Google Slides seems to be the easiest way, unless you have a different thing that you want to try, and that's cool too. Social distancing, of course. So if you want to work with somebody else, I don't mind if someone from room 7 works with someone from room 9, and someone from room 9 works with someone from room 6. You get the picture. Just let me know who you want to work with. I think that would be great. But you can always just work by yourself too. So down below, you're going to see a list of directions of things you have to do. I have several examples of projects. They're not like the most perfect project ever, but they're examples I saved from last year. And I want to make sure that you follow my directions either in the Google Doc that's attached or in like the Google Slides setup, so that you can see the pictures, the names, and the colors that are going to be important for helping you create these cells. If we had been in school, I would have this cool like foam that I could offer you to use. alas, we are not. So you can use whatever you want, but just so you know that the examples are going to talk about, or foam in particular. I'm going to speed this up too because I'm going to run out of time otherwise. So let me just show you this quick. Let me show you the pictures and you can look at these on your own too. So like here's an example of a project that we did in foam. So you can see, and I'm sorry, it's not quite big enough. Here we go. They're labeled and it's cut off, plant cell and animal cell. Okay, you can see they use layered foam, but you could use construction paper or Model Magic or something else that you have or you can even do some of it with coloring and some of it with layering with construction paper or tissue paper or something else. Okay, these are all kinds of different options. This person last year just kind of colored with colored pencil. These are all for you to look at in classroom, or they did a little bit of foam, I think. Watch your spelling. This person did a black and white kind of drawing, which I'd rather you use some color. This is Google Slides, or they made it in PowerPoint, but you know, it's the equivalent, and I made a template for you that you can use. So here are examples of how they drew, right, using shapes and then just filled in with color and just labeled. Okay, here are their animal and plant cells that they made this way. So that's something you could do with a buddy. This is my friend Russell from last year. He made, it's saying I can't look at it right now. So you'll have to look at it on your own. Okay, here are actually pages 6 and 7 too about the cells if you need them. And, oh, I don't see the other page that I need. Hold on one second. Okay, I think I got what I need now. Let me move this a little bit. So back up here now I have things that cell requirements and directions. This is a Google Doc that has a list of everything you should have in your project. So you should have, you need to make one animal cell and one plant cell. You need to have all of these things in both of the cells. The plant cell should have these differences, and the animal cell should have this difference. So I'm going to have a step-by-step thing if that's the easiest thing for you to follow. If you want to try and do it more yourself, if you want to look more at the pictures on pages 6 and 7 in the reader, I think those are the pages. That's totally fine too. Let me see if I can open up one more thing to show you guys. But I want you to know, I know it's hard because usually when we do a project, I'm there with you and I'm there if you have any questions, but I want you to know, please reach out. So please have mom or dad email me, leave me a message somehow, somewhere on Google Classroom. I can always call you at your house, be happy to chat with you. Or we have some different online resources we can reach out to you through, and you and I could video chat if you wanted a little bit of help. But I'm hoping this is something fun that you can do at home that might kind of get you engaged. So hold on, let me try one more thing. Okay, this is one last thing I couldn't open before. This was somebody's from last year, but it also includes my other directions. And I'm going to make sure these same directions are also somewhere in here, either in a video or slides. So this is actually a step-by-step, like what you should do first. It mentions foam, right? Cut your pink foam. And if you don't have that, that's okay. But this could take you step by step, like how to set all of these up, how to label everything, what you should include, where, right? So this is a nice, easy way if you wanted to do it that way. But if you want to try a different way, go for it. Just remember to go back through that requirement page and just make sure you have everything you need. And have some fun. Be creative. You guys are awesome that way. Can't wait to see what you come up with. I miss you tons. I wish we were all together at school. If you need anything, please, please, please just let me know. Okay? Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.